Hello, welcome to Kerbal Space Program again. I decided today, well, it was yesterday, but today is me speaking in the future. This is the past me playing the game. The past me's today decided to send a two-man crew with rovers to Tylo. Oh, I've never been to Tylo. It's yeah, I've been to most of the astrological bodies in Kerbal Space Program, but Tylo is a challenge, and there's some explosions for me already. Yeah, Tylo is a challenge because it has the same gravity, I think even possibly higher gravity than Kerbin, but it's roughly the same. But of course it has no atmosphere, and so, you know, the velocity over the surface when you're coming in for a landing is ludicrous with no atmosphere to slow you down. So, here I'm just building a lander, just testing it out and playing around with the little engines there. So yeah, just strapped on a big tank of fuel with 4 of those vectoring engines and some landing gear, and that's the basic design. And so what I'm doing here is sticking some docking ports to the side, because I'm gonna attach the rovers radially. I'm gonna have 2 little rovers stuck to the side of it so that you can decouple them and drive them around, hopefully. So yeah, I'm just going for a pretty basic design, just a probe body so that it has controls if one of the Kerbals happens to die inexplicably. I don't know how that could happen, right? And a seat on the top so they have somewhere to sit. And that's your basic rover there. I mean, now I just stick some stuff on it like solar panels and whatnot, but first I just yep, there we go. And of course science gear, because that's why you're sending them. I mean, you wouldn't just do it for some kind of cruel punishment. They are actually there on a scientific mission. So here I am testing whether these things actually work, and unfortunately one of the wheels came off there. Yeah, there's a lot of debris around my space station. And then I don't know why I fired the engines, but look! The rover survived! The entire lander exploded and somehow the rover survived. And yeah, it's quite a nippy little design, but yeah, I didn't manage to actually detach it from the side of the ship with it falling down naturally. And the problem is that that panel that I've made the body out of is just too big. It just snagged on the engines and it wouldn't fall down properly. And so I made it even smaller, a tiny diddly little thing. The wheels, yeah, I'm building on the top here because that's just easier. It's just easier to build it on the top and then stick it on the side when you're done, so you don't have to faff around rotating parts and stuff. And so yeah, that fits in nice and snugly, and the wheels don't clip through the thing like they were on the top because it's round, which is nice. But then we have weighting issues, as in this thing is tiny and extremely top heavy. So yeah, even barging into it to try and knock it onto the wheels, it doesn't work. And he tries to drive it around anyway, but it doesn't work at all. And so I try and stick a micro landing strut on it. you know, it's something to flip it over, right? That's the idea. See, it's still just landing on the wheels like that. And it lets it drive around. But it won't flip it over. And if I stick any bigger, he falls out of his seat there. See, even when it flips over end to end, it still just lands on its end and just will not go on the bloody wheels. And if I stick a bigger landing leg on it, that's just going to start unbalancing it even more. And so I had the idea to put RCS on it, because, you know, a bit of thrust to flip it over onto its wheels would surely work. And if it works in Kerbin's gravity, it'll work on Tylo's gravity, because they're quite similar. But the RCS thrust is not enough. And that explosion there was the solar panels, and I lose control. But actually, if you put a Kerbal in a seat, it has control despite the lack of power. Don't ask me how that works. I suppose there's a battery in the EVA suit that's powered by methane or something, I don't know. So yeah, I think at this point I'm just thinking, and then I just decide to scrap it and start from scratch and just redesign the whole bloody thing. Oh, that's right, I tried lowering it down first so it was closer to the ground when I detached it, hoping that I could just sort of lock it onto the wheels if it was closer to the ground, but no, it's a it's a hopeless cause. They're just too top heavy, just too small, and just like that headbutt there. They just won't go on the wheels. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna... Well, I did manage to knock it on the wheels there, but, you know, if you're on Tylo, you don't have a launch thing to push stuff against, just some sloping rocks and stuff, so that's not really ideal. So here I am, desperately trying to salvage this rover design by sticking things on the bottom. I was just like, surely if I make it weightier at the bottom, it will naturally want to orient itself that way up, right? I keep trying to run between that engine and landing gear, and it just doesn't work. You can't get through that gap. But no, even with all that weight at the bottom, it just will not go on the wheels. It's a stubborn little bastard. Poor little Kerbal there. Why isn't my rover working? Yeah, that's when I scrap it and just say, you know, let's actually just use the little rover body thing. I mean, that's what it's for, right? Why am I using a panel? I mean, come on. So this thing is purposed for this thing. It just, yeah, you can actually just strap wheels to it and it'll drive around properly. It's not too bottom heavy or top heavy. So I'm getting that all important science gear on. Still attaching them to the side there with the docking ports. Yeah, the one little Kerbal can move the entire craft by bumping into the landing gear. And I realised that I didn't put a probe body on, so I had no torque with which to flip it back onto the wheels. So, try again. Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error in this game. But it's so rewarding, you know, you try so many different things. And eventually something is right, and it works. And it is a hell yeah moment. But this is a hell no moment. Because even with the little probe body in there, that's not enough torque. So there, I thought about the RCS again, but no, it just doesn't work in this kind of gravity. And so I realized that attaching it radially, they're just gonna have to be the right way up. I can't, you know, I can't just stick it on the side and hope that it'll land on the wheels, so it has to come off a little girder, and yeah, I rebuild the whole thing because it's, for some reason the attachment point disappeared off the top of the rover body. I don't know why, but can't explain everything in this game. So, sticking on the science gear before I stick on the probe body again. Yep, I mean, there's no point in stranding Kerbals on a alien planet if you're not gonna study sciencey stuff. And yeah, they were actually lower than the landing gear, which isn't a problem, because when you land on a planet, your landing gear is actually out, right? I don't know if you saw that wheel there, like, when he repaired it, it kind of twisted around and sheared off. It was really strange. Yeah, it's always top heavy when there's a Kerbal on. Well, that's okay. Just trying to tip it over by flinging the Kerbal at it. Ooh. Take a nice run up. Yeah, the cute little ragdoll physics are cute. And yeah, that's the design that I deem final for the lander and the rover delivery. They are attached in such a way that you can just sort of pop them off and they'll drop a few inches to the floor and you can just drive them around with it. As long as the landing gear is actually out, it will. And we skip the building the launcher stage because, you know, that's a launcher. You know what those look like. I've used the same design before, more or less. And this was a test flight, but actually it just went really well. So it was actually the actual flight. And yeah, it does have some rotational issues there. It does want to spin around. But that's okay. It's the rover's tack to the side. It makes the weight asymmetrical and therefore, you know, it just wants to spin. But yeah, it's fine. We got the center of thrust in the right place, so it can spin all at once, really. And yeah, this orbit was really uneventful. Nothing exploded, nothing went wrong really. Except for the fact that I have a skipper engine in the middle, because usually the launcher I build has too much thrust and reaches terminal velocity too soon. But I forget about that. I just kind of float on past that apoapsis there. Which means I do waste a little bit of fuel having to burn upwards to get into an orbit. But other than that, it was fine. I still had some fuel left to start my transfer as well, so I could save a bit of fuel in the transfer stage. I just have a little bit of an EVA just to check for damage on the fuselage and stuff. It's very important. Because, you know, once you start the transfer burn, that's the point of no return, you know? You're not going to get any repair ships going out to Jool. That's end of the line, really. So yeah, just setting up the maneuver node, just tweaking it so that I come in somewhat equatorially. I think I've given up trying to transfer it into a perfect equatorial orbit for Jool, at least, because it's millions of kilometers away, and yeah, it's tough, man. So yeah, just accidentally skim the very tip of the atmosphere with this maneuver, but it works out okay. Again, nothing horrible goes wrong, so because yeah, I always manage to arrive at Jool in a bloody polar orbit every time. I mean, it's slightly inclined, so just, you know, when you're on the other side of the solar system, or Kerbal system as I guess it's called, because it's not Sol, is it? Yeah, the Kerbals aren't too happy there, but you know, I know what I'm doing. It's fine. And yeah, here is a 2-minute segment of me crashing into Tylo. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Because, as I said at the start of the video, this is a big moon. It has a lot of gravity and no atmosphere. You will not aerobrake, and you will be traveling across the surface at 2,000 meters a second. Just, yeah, it's extremely difficult to land on. Which is one of the reasons why I haven't done it yet, I suppose. And so, this is just attempt after attempt. I mean, here I'm coming down okay, and then, whoop, going a little bit sideways and bobbing up and down, and then that happens, yeah. Because I didn't realize at that time, but I realized later that the landing gear actually clips through the engines, which just negates any thrust that they might have. Like, it just makes it have no thrust. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you know, if something's obstructing the engine, then yeah, it's not going to be working properly, but I had absolutely zero thrust when I stuck the landing gear out, but yeah, I should have put them on those radially attached engines, really. That would have been the best place for it, instead of behind them. I don't know what I was thinking. And there, I just nearly got it, but then just, oh, put the landing gear down again, and everything explodes. Yeah. So I think at this point I realised that I couldn't use the landing gear, and so I'm just looking around for my shadow there. There it is. And nearly, but then, oh, I just decided to throttle nosedive into the ground. I don't know why. I panicked. I just throttled up. Here again, I'm just doing okay, and just accidentally go sideways, and that was nearly okay. But there wasn't enough wheels on the rovers. I mean, that's the important thing here, is the rovers. And so we are in real time. Again, no more 4 times acceleration. Because this is my final landing. Do I land successfully? Well, let's find out. So I'm taking it very cautiously this time. I slowed my lateral velocity at a much higher altitude so that I could just sort of gently float down. I mean, it uses more fuel coming down from a higher altitude because, yeah, that surface acceleration is just really high. I think it's 7 meters a second squared or whatever surface acceleration's measured in. I don't know. I never studied physics, so I think what I know is probably acquired from the Kerbal Space Program wiki. But yeah, I just have enough fuel to float it on down. And the Kerbals seem okay. I mean, can't see their names on this little preview window, but yeah, they look content. They're just like, yeah, you're doing a good job. That's fine. Keep it up. Just watching my shadow come in there. Still going nice and vertically, no sideways velocity. And whoops, just bob up a little bit, but then just touch down and topple over. But you know what? That's a landing. We lost an engine, but there's no bloody fuel in it, so who cares? The rovers are fine, the Kerbals are alive. So they can get out and fix the wheels. We just decouple them first. Because, you know, they've all got spare tyres in their pockets. And their EVA suits. Yeah, don't know where they're getting those from. I suppose maybe it's just a puncture repair kit, and they just sort of reinflate the tyres or something, I don't know. They look pretty damn destroyed. So yeah, actually bother to lower the ladder, and there's not much point, because they're probably not going back in the capsule. Yeah, sorry to say. We just shoved that debris out of the way. Yeah, that capsule is now... it's useless, really. So, you know, when a game's in development, you do wonder what they'll do with things like that in the future. Will they make Kerbals need oxygen supplies and food and stuff like that? Because, I mean, they've already spent about 13 months in space here at this point. A long time. So we get the science gear turned on. That's why we're here, to take sciencey measurements and stuff. Measure those gravioles and the lack of atmosphere and the extremely cold temperature, minus 80 something, whatever is measured in actually. I don't know. I wonder actually what the temperature's measured in this game. Kelvins perhaps? Oh no, it wouldn't be kelvins, would it? You can't have minus kelvins. Jesus. It's probably degrees Celsius. Minus 80. Yeah, I suppose that seems reasonable. I mean, if it's in direct sunlight, it wouldn't be that cold, I don't think. I mean, even Mars is quite warm around the equator. I think you get peak temperatures of 25 degrees Celsius, and that's, you know, a considerable distance from the sun compared to Earth, I think. So I just get his buddy out here. They both get to drive rovers, that's why I sent two. You can't have one just sitting like a lemon in the command capsule, can we? That's no fun. So they might not have any food or means of returning home, but they do have some rovers that they can have little races with and explore this incredibly interesting planet. Look at it. Grey. So yeah, we'll drive him on over there and get him to pose for a photograph after we turn on all this sciencey stuff on here as well. Because you have to You have to verify the readings, you know, you have to account for errors and such. That's what science is about. Doing things over and over again and expecting different results. And so, yeah, that is this mission a success. Finally. It took me a long time. It took me a good few hours to finally get something to land without exploding. And of course getting over here and building everything included in that. So I'll pose for a screenshot and say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.